All right, our 60-day legislative session is really coming down to the wire. Less than 5 days left for lawmakers to tackle some really big ticket items, and they've made a big move today.
The Voting Rights Act passed the House again after lawmakers approved the changes made in the Senate. It happened about an hour ago, and that bill is now headed to the governor's desk.
So this bill would expand voting rights to include automated registration, permanent absentee voting lists, and allow felons to vote right after they're released.
While that one's moving forward, what about the state budget? Figuring out how much it will cost to run our state is no easy feat, and it comes with a lot of back and forth from both sides.
And it's literally the only thing lawmakers have to pass this session. That's what we saw as the New Mexico Senate passed the largest budget in state history over the weekend. Every Republican and one Democrat broke ranks voting against the budget, but it was not enough to stop it from heading back to the House for its final approval.
All right, let's get to Spencer Schott at the Roundhouse tonight. Spencer, you spoke to both supporters and opposition of this bill. What don't lawmakers agree on at this point?
Well, Julie, mainly it's the final price tag that they don't agree on. The Democrats say since we have this surplus of funding this year, we should be spending more money on various projects. But the Republicans argue that money would have been better invested in a rainy day fund.
By a vote of 25 in the affirmative, 16 in the negatives, House Appropriation and Finance Committee substitute for House Bill 2 and 3 has duly passed the Senate.
At a grand total of $9.57 billion, this year's budget is the largest in state history, and it covers a lot of ground.
Well, it's a good budget for New Mexico. We had lots of money. We got to appropriate a lot of money in a lot of places that it's going to make a difference in New Mexico.
This budget includes free school lunches, funding opportunities for scholarships, expanding rural health care, more funding for law enforcement, and much more. But those who voted against this bill say these increases are going to cost more money down the line.
We support investments in one-time projects, critical infrastructure, roads, bridges, buildings that have for so long been ignored are one-time investments that New Mexico needs. Our concern, though, is the large and the heavy amount of investment in recurring projects and programs.
Republican Senators Crystal Diamond and Pat Woods explain the surplus we see right now is from the oil and gas industry, and there's no guarantee we'll see a similar surplus next year. But their concerns don't end there. Senator Woods says he would be surprised if state agencies actually use all of the money that's being given to them this year.
Well, simply, it was a very bloated budget. And why I say that is because the year before and the year before and the year before, we have reverted millions of dollars back from agencies that weren't able to spend the budget.
While that concern is shared by some Democrats, Senator Munoz says no matter how they spent the budget, there would be some complaints.
You get money, and if you have money and you use it in a good way, people will always complain that you spent too much money. On the other side of the aisle, if we didn't spend any money, they'd be saying we didn't spend any money to fix their projects. And we have to use the money in Mexico, and there's nothing wrong with our budget increasing because we have the capacity. But we're going to use it wisely.
Now, since there were changes made to the budget on the Senate side, the House has to vote one more time to pass it again before this budget heads up to the governor's desk. Back to you.
All right, Spencer, and only a couple more days to do it, so let's hope they move quick. More money in the bank is always a good thing, and state lawmakers in the House passed a bill over the weekend that will give most of us a good bump. They passed a tax reform package that includes $500 rebates for singles and $1,000 for couples. It would also cut the personal income tax for all New Mexicans. It would increase the refundable child income tax credit for New Mexico families who need it most, and provide up to $600 more for those families. Both the House and Senate still have to agree on the changes they've made to the bill.
You know a good place to get all that up to the minute information, our social media pages and KOB.com. All you have to do, follow KOB4 on Facebook or Twitter, and you can see what our reporters are working on at the Roundhouse throughout the day, especially these busy days.